What's up, YouTube? My name is Ty, financial advisor. Welcome to my channel. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here's TSLA, Tesla. This finishes at $865 today. That is down 6.63%. So we talked about the stock when the earnings came out. That was pretty bullish. The stock has continued to pump ever since. But yesterday in the aftermarket, the cyber roundup happened, which is pretty much the Tesla annual shareholders meeting. So that was a big catalyst, and it appears like this is a case of selling the news. So let's check out what happened during the cyber roundup yesterday. So the 3-to-1 split did get approved. That is going to happen. In the future, they plan to have 10 to 12 gigafactories and expects a 2 million car annual production. They expect to start producing Cybertrucks by mid-2023, and then he goes into this whole thing about how Twitter scammed him. But yeah, it seems like for the most part, they had some pretty bullish news in the Cyber Roundup. But like I said, seems like a sell the news event. It was probably already priced in. So despite the bullish news, the stock is selling off pretty hard today. So this did make top 10 on StockTwits today. This was number 3 after AMC and SPY. This had 6,000 mentions today. So once again, we're going to analyze it. All right, let's go ahead. Let's jump right in and analyze here. So first of all, this is a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the yearly low of 620. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 958, 1001, 1090, or 1148. And longer term, this is part of an even bigger cup and handle where this has the potential to go all the way back up to 1208 or the all-time high of 1243. So those are all bullish indicators. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. And here we have a bull flag that has recently developed. Here's the flag pole. And here's the flag. So that's a bullish indicator. That is suggesting that the stock may break out to the upside. Today, this did gap down at 915. So that's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to 915 to fill this gap. At the same time, we have a gap up here at 752. So that's a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back down to 752 to fill that gap. And both of those gaps should fill in the short term. Here we have an ascending channel. The upper channel is currently at 1020, and the lower channel is currently at 910. So if this breaks 1020 to the upside, that'd be bullish. If this breaks 910 to the downside, that'd be bearish. And this did in fact break 910 today. So the ascending channel is currently a bearish indicator. That is suggesting that the stock may sell off. And down here on the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD line has not crossed the signal line just yet, but it looks like it will pretty soon in the next few trading sessions. That's a bearish indicator. That is suggesting that it may be time to sell. And here we do have a symmetrical triangle forming. So right now this is consolidating between 935 and 850. So there's a bit more consolidation to go, but this should consolidate somewhere around 890. And from there, this should break out either way, to the upside or the downside. So the symmetrical triangle is currently a neutral indicator. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 871 and 860. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 871, 883, 900, 910, 926, 937, 949, 958, 967, 975, 985, 1001, 1010, 1019, 1026, 1034, 1043, 1055, 1065, 1079, 1090, and then 1101. There is resistance above 1101, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 860, 851, 838, 830, 817, 808, 798, 787, 777, 762, 752, 744, 731, 720, 706, and then 697. There is support below 697, but we're not going to discuss that right now. So right now at the current price, 865, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide, so expect significant price action either way this goes. RSI is currently at 60, so no longer in overbought and overvalued territory, which it was in just yesterday, but still above average. So be careful, guys. According to the RSI, the current price of 865 should be a little bit lower. And this did 38 million in volume today, way above the average of 27 million. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. Really good PR today in the Cyber Roundup, but it seems to be a priced-in sell the news event. So that was pretty disappointing, but in the long term, it still looks bullish. Tesla's not going anywhere. This is a blue chip value stock, leader in EVs, retail favorite, but in the short term, this has been running to the upside pretty hard. in the past few weeks, and this looks like it's due for some pretty significant pullback. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, the current price of 865 isn't exactly a great entry. It's not terrible, but this is a below average entry here. Again, this should come back up to 915 in the short term, and from the current price of 865, that would only be a little bit over a 5% upside potential here. So there doesn't appear to be too much upside potential left in the short term. And again, this should pull back down to 752 to fill the gap there. So from the current price of 865, that would be about a 15% downside potential. So pretty decent downside potential here in the short term. So I would say going long at the current price, 865, would be a medium risk, low reward play. Not really worth it in my opinion. You will make money here, especially if you buy and hold for the long term. But honestly, if you're a little bit patient, you should be able to get this back at 752 where the gap is. And I think that would be a much better entry than the current one of 865. So from 752 up to 915, that would be over a 20% upside potential. So I would say going long at 752 would be a low risk, medium reward play. And that is definitely worth a shot in my opinion. This really shouldn't go too much lower, below 752. There's some very critical support below that. Going to take a lot of selling pressure to break that. Pretty decent upside potential in the short term, and of course, massive upside potential in the longer term. So you can't go too wrong buying in at 752. So I don't like the current entry of 865, but I can support going long at 752. And if it pulls back, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short now, financial advice, seems like a pretty decent play. Not excellent, but you should be able to make money here on the downside. So again, in the short term, this has a little bit over a 5% upside potential and about a 15% downside potential. So I would say going short here would be a low risk, medium reward play. Definitely worth a shot in my opinion. This may run a little bit more to the upside to fill the gap there at 915, but this has been running pretty hard for the last couple of weeks, and we are getting some pretty strong bearish indicators in the gap up, ascending channel, and high RSI. So this looks like it's due for a good amount of pullback. So I can't support going short at the current price, 865. And again, I would cover at 752 where the gap is. So as long as you're able to withstand some upside pressure, you should be able to make some pretty decent money here on the downside. And that should be a relatively easy 15% downside gain here. So pretty straightforward, guys. It's been a great couple of weeks for this stock, pumping really hard to the upside here. Yesterday was a big catalyst. The Cyber Roundup happened. There was a lot of bullish PR, news about Gigafactory expansion, Cybertruck production starting, 3-to-1 stock split. But it seems like everything was already priced in, and it's turned out to be a sell the news event. So pretty disappointing, but not surprising. And yeah, we have a pretty big sell-off here today, almost 7%. So if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. It's not a terrible entry at the current price, 865, but definitely a below average entry. Really shouldn't go too much further to the upside in the short term, and there's a decent amount of downside potential in the short term. So if you're a little bit patient, you should be able to get this back at 752 where the gap is. And I think that would be a much better entry than the current one at 865. So I don't like the current entry of 865, but I can support going long at 752 and lower. And if it pulls back, then you can just average down at these supports that I mentioned before. And if you want to go short, seems like a pretty good play at the moment. This has about a 5% upside potential in the short term, and about a 15% downside potential in the short term. A lot of short-term bearish indicators right now. Gap up, ascending channel, and high RSI. So this looks like it's due for a good amount of pullback. This may run a little bit more to the upside, but really shouldn't go too much further, and this has a pretty decent amount of downside potential here. So as long as you're able to withstand a little bit of upside pressure here, you should be able to make some pretty decent money here on the downside. So I can support going short at the current price, 865 and higher, and again I would cover at 752 where the gap is. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, but looks like a pretty good buying opportunity coming up here. Not financial advice, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is TSLA, Tesla. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video. Please subscribe and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. You apes already know, diamond hands to the moon. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace out.